All right. You know, I love crowds like you. You're also beautiful and art damaged.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically what I did was I saved my spam emails that I got for 3 years and turned off all my spam filters and just let it roll in. And I put it all in one very large document, and eventually I got around to reading it. And there were some very interesting phrases in there that I decided were worthy of putting together into novel form. So it was a wonderful experience. Let's do what we can here. Holy moly, can't see shit. The new weekday dashed against the horizon as the sun rose, recovering the contours obliterated by night. The morning light rioted across the lawns as the sky fumed over their superficial rescue, the cooperating landscape summarizing the lenient ritual like a pretend creature. Useless. Thank you.
You don't want it?
The sunlight was one of God's successful experiments, guttering its interdependence against the hierarchy of a practicable geography. Soon the twee gardens beyond the country doors of the saccharine dwellings would give in to the green urgings and explode like a flowering verb, dancing in the wind like a supplementary anecdote. The alphabetic schedule of the day had begun, kick-starting a sure adventure behind the morning's outrage. Mr. Brakewind glided past a deserted supermarket, half listening to the gentle musical as a fibrous intern of beggary argued with his cart of jetsam. Does this sound... sounds like shit.
Sounds muffled. Sounds muffled. Sounds good.
Sounds good, you just can't hear it.
A little bit more treble. Anyway, Mr. Brakewind's day had commenced auspiciously enough with a phone call to this Dominique Crushing-Bore. He had been expecting yet another vocalic silicon disappointment, but the telephone had lusted before him, and a time had been set at once to share a religious mug of vintage juice at the Chattanooga code break. He headed towards the prevalent coordinates, fingering the blue pill of Viagra and compiling his cozy plan. The worn smiles of the sidewalk surfers forbid any rubbish to creep in under Mr. Brakewind's positive crystal impulse, and he considered his seduction. In the distance, his pornographic objective posed unseen. Among the reasoning buildings, the architecture's stationary average inspiring a trusting wealth. An uninteresting downhill yawned before him, the conventional focus somehow bettered by its own blasted flaws. It seemed impossible to Mr. Brakewind that the entire cityscape was ignorant of his mission and his concealed anatomy. Throughout this scenario muttered a credible sail, its concerned plume pounding any insufficient buffer. As he crossed the street, fiddling across another dirty layer of Hilltown eye, Mr. Brakewind felt his disregard for his wife railroading through the deserted avenues. The advice that Billy Lucid had given him at the party resonated in his mind like the caring soundtrack of a relaxed nobleman. After all, this Dominique Crushing-Bore was just a pretty face, whereas his wife held the key to a potential million gold teeth.